I mean, you remember what happened just a few short weeks ago in the election? A lot of people have kind of moved on. They forgot about that. They forgot that when they went to bed, President Trump was leading in all these major states. They forgot about the fact that there were these very strange vote spikes and vote dumps that occurred early in the morning of November 4th. They're forgetting about this, and they're just thinking, well, let's just move on. I mean, I hear people that are even ostensibly supporters of President Trump or Republicans or whatever, and they say, well, we just got to move on to the Georgia Senate races. Now, we just got to keep in mind what's really important. I mean, I think you're really missing the point there if that's the way you're thinking about it, because what's really important is, do you think you're going to win the Georgia Senate races if the entire election system is compromised from top to bottom? You know, you better think again.
Do you think we've been conditioned over the last 5 years to consume media in that way? Well, hey, let's just move on, whether it's grabby headlines, short Twitter stories, or something that they just don't follow up on in a deeper way.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially, I'd say, you know, what I'm saying is that, you know, think about it. People don't read articles. You know, articles are shorter now. They're more like blog posts. They used to be longer, more in-depth examinations. They don't write longer articles anymore because people don't read them. They don't want to read them. It's very sad. People don't read books anymore. You know, sometimes it takes a long time to truly develop a thought, develop an argument, and sometimes it takes a sustained focus and attention to understand it. It can't just be understood in a little blurb headline, but that's what we've moved to. It's all about the blurbs. It's a quick hit. People want to, and then they got to keep checking what's going on. Got to keep refreshing the page. What's the next blurb I'm supposed to take into my mind? And, you know, I think this is a very sad development in our intellectual culture. It goes right along with that movie Idiocracy, which we've talked about any number of times. You know, the stupidification of Americans and, frankly, other people all around the world. And it's just increasing. But I know there are plenty of people out there who are still with it. They're still paying attention. I know some of them are listening to this show, and they're still analyzing it, and they can see, I mean, it is so clear that there were major issues in this election. It's almost unfathomable. I mean, think about some of the facts here. I mean, some of the facts that are so important. And people the mainstream media doesn't want you to think about this, but you need to think about it. I mean, you know, President Trump received more votes in this past election. If you assume that the count, even just as it stands, as it is reported, is accurate, he received more votes than any previous incumbent seeking re-election. He got 11 million more votes than he did in 2016. That's almost unheard of. Barack Obama, who is one of the, considered to be one of the most popular recent presidents, and you have to acknowledge that there were a lot of people that were passionate about Barack Obama. He could at least draw a crowd. He's not a Joe Biden kind of a guy that can't get 10 people to show up in support of him, gets 4 people for his car parade. Barack Obama could draw a crowd. There's no doubt about that. But Barack Obama in 2012 got 3.5 million fewer votes than he got in 2008. It is not typical that an incumbent gets more votes, and certainly not more votes on the order that President Trump did, 11 million votes. And why did he get so many more votes? Because he performed so well with all the different demographic groups that the media, remember, the media was telling us he was not going to perform well with these groups. He wasn't going to be popular. I mean, you have 95% of Republicans voted for President Trump. That's pretty strong. They tried to say there was this huge undercurrent of Republicans who weren't going to support President Trump, the Never Trumpers, the Lincoln Project. Apparently, that was a very small minority of people. In reality, 1 in 20, very small. He did well, as we would expect, with working-class voters, working-class whites. There wasn't this flight away from him as they've suggested would occur. But this is what's sort of important. He got the highest share of minority votes of any Republican since 1960. He grew his support among black voters by 50% since 2016. And, of course, Joe Biden's support as a result among black voters fell well below 90%, which is unheard of for Democrats to get that low of support. In fact, typically if the Democrats don't get above 90% of the black vote, they wouldn't expect to win the election. He got an increased share of the Hispanic vote. He captured, President Trump did, 35% of the Hispanic vote. So he did much better with minority groups. Now, what's interesting, when you look at the state swings, typically Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin swing with Ohio and Iowa. Those states tend to go together, just like they did in the 2016 election. Now, Ohio tends to follow Florida. Ohio and Florida are almost always together. Now, in this current election, President Trump won Florida by a significant margin, and he won Ohio by a significant margin. But somehow, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin all flipped and went for Biden. And remember, this is after Biden said that he was going to ban fracking. Biden and Harris, in the debates and other places, both made statements that they were going to ban fracking, probably the most important industry to the state of Pennsylvania. And people were up in arms in Pennsylvania. And I guess we've forgotten that. You had commentators in the mainstream media coming out and saying, "God, you're so stupid, Joe Biden. Now you're definitely going to lose Pennsylvania. There is no way to win Pennsylvania after saying what you just said. It was unnecessary. You could have dodged the question. You could have hidden your real motives. But you had to go out and make this stupid statement in the debate and confirm the fact that, yes, you are going to ban fracking, try to ban fossil fuels, try to enact the Green New Deal." So he makes that statement. Everybody says, "Oh, there goes Pennsylvania. It's gone." And remember, then President Trump is having rallies in Pennsylvania. Tens of thousands of people are showing up for these rallies, nearly spontaneously. Not a lot of warning given for any of these rallies. So nearly spontaneously, tens of thousands of people are showing up at these rallies. And now we're expected to believe that he lost Pennsylvania. President Trump lost Pennsylvania. That's what we're expected to believe. It just doesn't make any sense. And we're going to get into some of what happened last week, because last week was a big news week for this particular type of news. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.